The third set of numbers is located in the power group: empowerment, power, autonomy, and the feeling that accompanies it is anger. And I'd like us to look a little bit at what do I mean by anger. You know, anger is basically resistance to what is. Anger can take all kinds of forms, can't it? It can be the form of disappointment. It can be the form of rage, right? It can be, I'm not moving. I'm just try to move me. It has all kinds of, just variations. So why am I angry? Why am I disappointed? What's underneath it? And how does that have to do with power or autonomy? Well, I guess what's underneath all that is my powerlessness. I may say, I'm a powerful person, right? But how true is that? I mean, really, how much do I control in my life? I might walk around trying to control my life, but how much do I really control? Life happens to us. We can't control everything. We might want to try. So the sense of I'm kind of really powerless if I really look at it. I might fool myself into believing I'm very powerful, but I don't know if I'm going to walk across the street and get hit by a car. And I don't know if I'm going to be somewhere and there'll be a terrorist there. Or I don't know if I'm going to wake up and have a disease. And I certainly don't know if the person that I am relating to is going to do what I want them to do in the way that I want them to do it. So each of these numbers strategizes around not wanting to feel vulnerable, not wanting to feel powerless. So the first number, 8, is they're about, well, I'm just going to, through sheer will, show the world that I'm very powerful. And we know in the political arena, we can see people like that all the time. I'm just going to demand my power. I'm just going to insist on my power. And we can see what that does in my body. Even as I'm talking about it, I sit more erect. I'm got a lot going on in my rib cage. I'm strong. I'm going to demand it. I'm going to be very strong. And part of my power might be to protect everybody around me and protect myself, really believing I'm doing this for the greater good. And I'm not really allowing myself to acknowledge that this power that I'm wielding, is it real? Or is it, just a lot of hot air? And how long can I wield it until I get found out? So the anger in an 8 comes out very forcefully, generally speaking, commandingly so, and can be very reassuring to some people and can be very intimidating to others. The sad part about it, as I said, in every strategy, there's a cost, is I'm really alone in this. And where's my own support? Where's my own sense somebody is watching my back? Well, if I don't admit I need my back watched, then nobody will. But it's very lonely. And eventually life teaches you that you don't maybe have as much power as you thought you did. And eventually you may have to really face your vulnerability. Now the number 9 is a little bit different. The number 9 wants its power, but wants its power peacefully, without much conflict. And so it shuts down anything that is conflicting. Its power, it's like, a boulder, an immovable force. Nothing is powerful as an immovable force, right? You just can't move it. And so the 9 finds its autonomy, its power in taking a stance, maybe politely, maybe kindly, but taking a stance that's rather immovable. It also hides from its vulnerability. It hides from its sense of, I have needs too. I feel needy right now. No, can't show that. That would be vulnerable. And so even though it may feel very disappointed in life, it feels that this is the only way that it can have a sense of power, because it doesn't like to scream and it doesn't like to fight this energy in us. It just wants to dig in its heels and hold its own. And so you might feel this 9 energy and say it doesn't feel very angry. It feels just the opposite. It feels flat. It feels disassociated. It feels cut off. It feels like I'm denying my vulnerability in this moment, denying going after what I want. And so it fools you sometimes how it's going after power, how it lives in us that way. Now the number 1, the last number that I'm going to explore with you today, is also a power and autonomy type. And its lens, its paradigm is kind of like, I really envision a perfect world. I really envision a perfect self. And what do we know? Nothing is perfect. I mean, there is perfection in the imperfect, if we can embrace that. But the 1 just is so compelled to striving for that perfection, that idealization, for being in complete alignment and integrity. And you can just see the difference in my body. You know how the 8 was kind of forceful, and the 9, I kind of, when I was talking, just kind of collapsed in my center a little bit, but believe me, it wouldn't have been easy to move me. And now I kind of get kind of straight up, standing straight, wanting to feel in alignment with my own sense of values. And I kind of want the world to subscribe to my values too. And so what do? Well, I try to control in my own way, by improving people, by perfecting people, by improving myself, by criticizing maybe. It's all just in the name of improvement, in the name of reaching toward this ideal. And it's also avoiding the kind of vulnerability that says, nothing's really perfect, is it? And yet, the Japanese, through ancient times, believed that a great work of art could only be a work of art if it had a flaw, that's the humanity that came through its imperfections is actually what created the art. And so the 1 has to find a way to learn that there is perfection in the imperfect. But if you live in the world and you don't see it that way, you're living a pretty disappointed life. So once again, we see how each of the strategies seems like it's going to fix the problem, which is my thought that I have to control things and that it has to be my way, or that I have to, in the heart types, avoid my worthiness. I don't want to think about it. Or in the fear-based types, I've just got to make a perfectly secure life for myself. The very things that I am using to strategize with these things actually create more of the very problem I'm trying to avoid.